I hear the phrase, every woman needs to read this book, all of the time. Apparently, these books will educate you, connect you to other women, or even change your life. And although I do typically add these books to my TBR, I end up avoiding them because they just seem kind of heavy. But it is the end of the summer and I'm burnt out of all my rom-coms, so I figured this was the perfect time to read the books that supposedly every woman should read. The first book that I'm starting with, it's a classic. Everybody I know has read it and has said every woman needs to read this book. I'm reading The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath was an American poet and author born in 1932, and The Bell Jar is a semi-autobiography, which makes me very concerned because Sylvia Plath's life was very tragic. And if this book is even partially accurate to what her life looked like, then I know this is about to be pretty heavy. So wish me luck. Last night, I got to the halfway point of The Bell Jar. It basically follows this young woman, Esther Greenwood, from the year like 1953 into 1954. Esther Greenwood has always been this very highly achieving young woman, especially of the time. She went to college. She gets this internship in New York City. That's where the book starts. And it seems like she's sort of done everything right up to this point. The book basically follows her mental breakdown, which is very similar to Sylvia Plath. I know this book is semi-autobiography, but it is reading very much like a biography. It's not super plot driven because it's just about her kind of day-to-day through her mental illnesses and the way that those were handled in the 1950s. Where the halfway point ends off is she's back home from her New York internship in Boston, living with her mom, and she has a doctor recommend her to a psychiatrist. And I think we can all assume that the male psychiatrist of the 1950s wasn't really super keen on actually helping women. So I'm pretty sure the second half of this book is where she really starts to go downhill. It almost feels like a woman of today writing what they think life would be like as a woman in the 1950s. But then I remember Sylvia Plath was a real person and writing a lot of real experiences. She's slowly starting to lose herself. Nobody around her notices or cares. Esther's character is just very isolated. And I think I can take a couple of guesses on what this psychiatrist is going to say to her. Probably something along the lines of, I think you're crazy. You know, women's hysteria and all that. Oh, okay, everyone's in the chair. Everyone's in the chair. Okay. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. The second half of this book, like I expected, downhill. This poor girl Esther. There's also going to be spoilers because in order to talk about a book like this, I kind of have to talk about the events, and they're very historically accurate and aligned with the Sylvia Plath herself. So picking up where I left off, halfway in, she goes to see a psychiatrist, and I was correct. He basically immediately says electroshock therapy. Yeah. But it was the 50s, what can you expect? Basically, over the next few weeks, she tries to find multiple different ways to take her own life, and in one unsuccessful attempt, she gets put into an asylum for an extended stay. The rest of the book basically takes place during her time at this asylum. There is a female doctor at this asylum, and this doctor does continue to use electroshock therapy. We see this portrayed in media a lot in a very gruesome, scary way, which it very much was. But then I found out it's actually still used today. I don't know if I'm the only one who didn't know that. In the time period that this book takes place, in the time period that Sylvia Plath was going under these procedures, like, women were just being used as medical guinea pigs, really. Women daily were being put into medically induced comas with an influx of insulin that basically knocked them unconscious, and then they would go do this therapy. A few weeks after the official publishing of the Bell Jar, she took her own life. So I knew going into this, it was going to be like a kind of a tough read. Now, that being said, the ending of this book actually surprised me, because knowing what I know about Sylvia Plath, I thought this ending was going to be pretty much a big downer, but it was way more hopeful than I anticipated it being. Esther ends up getting out of the asylum. The book alludes to the fact that she goes on to live the rest of her life. Was it super tear-jerking? Surprisingly, no. I kind of expected this book to make me sad emotional, but honestly, it just kind of made me angry, because I knew that women have never been taken seriously in the medical field, but reading something like this, it is so real, and you're reading it from the point of view of a woman in this time, and the fact that it still spans decades and women still read this book today and it can relate to things that were happening, is comforting and also infuriating. So 4 stars from me. Truly, it's baffling to me that this is not like a required reading in every school. And the argument of it being too graphic does not line up for me, because I was forced to read Lord of the Flies in high school at 16. It's historically accurate, it happened to real women, and we still see effects of it in today's society. To me, that checks all the boxes for something that should be taught. And with that, on to the next. The next book I'm reading is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. It is her debut novel. It was published in 2022 and since then has won a ton of awards, and look at all these blurbs on the back. Very well loved, so I figured it was about time I read it. I'm like 25% in and it got really sad. But then I found this table I've been looking for on Facebook Marketplace. So it's like 30 minutes away. I have to go pick it up right now. And I'm gonna listen to the audiobook in the car. Table acquired. Back home I go. Also this book, what the hell? I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But it's sad as shit. Specifically the dog. The dog is a shocking factor that I did not see coming. I have been reading all day long, and I am halfway through Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, and I can't believe this book sat on my TBR for so long without me reading it, like for years. The book is in third person, but it follows mostly Elizabeth Zott, who is a brilliant chemist in the 1950s and the 1960s. The first half of this book is about her job in this research lab and how she falls in love with a male chemist who's also working in this lab, and kind of their love story together, and also her experience working in this lab as a female scientist. Over a few tragic series of events, Elizabeth ends up losing her job at this research lab after becoming pregnant. An unwed, ooh, everybody say ooh, unwed woman in the 60s having a baby. But from there, she goes on to host a TV cooking show for housewives at the time. Like I said, this book is in third person. Even the dog in this book has a POV. Something about the dog is very intriguing to me, not even just in like a quirky, like, oh, haha, the dog has thoughts, but like the dog's thoughts are adding to the storyline and the depth so well. Sorry if you can hear my dog chugging water over here. Necessary to do that for this long. Just within the first 200 pages of this book, I have wanted to laugh, cry and scream simultaneously. It covers so many different themes in such an incredibly tasteful way. It's covering internalized misogyny and how women are pitted against each other, how different women deal with the effects of patriarchy and misogyny in different ways, and female community and the struggles of grief and motherhood and grief in motherhood. It's been very interesting reading something like this after reading The Bell Jar, when it's like, oh, there are some things in here that if you don't have already kind of an understanding of the true realities of what women were going through at that time, I'm sure there are plenty of people who think that feminism is like blown out of proportion, that could be seen as overly dramatic. But it really was exactly like this. There are things that have gotten better and there are things that have not gotten better. So it's like, oh no, don't let anyone think that it needs to be watered down or that it's not as bad as you think. Because I'm telling you, I bet I look crazy right now. I'm telling you, get on your soapbox about it. It still happens. It still happens and it's still important. Anyway, I'm excited for the second half of this book. I'm excited to see what happens now that I know Elizabeth Zot's character. And I love her, and she's my idol. I'm in a very feminist time of my life right now, as all women should be. I'm starting to get very nervous about the end of this book. I put on a Tinkerbell movie to calm my nerves, hopefully, maybe. Oh, brother. Brother, I'm scared! Yesterday afternoon, I finished lessons in chemistry and I had to take some time. I needed to breathe because this book is becoming my whole personality. Get ready. It's the only thing I'm going to talk about. I am obsessed with this book, but I have organized some thoughts. The second half of this book is when the cooking TV show that Elizabeth Zott gets hired for kind of takes off. And I think at the core, it has a lot of incredible themes that I will talk about. But one of the ones that really stood out to me is women trusting women. Women making what women want to see and trusting that they know women. Housewives, specifically of the mid-century, were forced to function in a society that genuinely thought that women who were just housewives were incompetent and it was the easiest thing they could do and it was the easiest job in the world. But there is a line in the book that is Elizabeth Zott saying, when they're saying, oh, this is just for housewives. They're just housewives. No woman has ever been just a housewife. And Elizabeth Zott, I wish you were a real woman. Oh, how we could use a soldier like you. Despite the fact that women have always just been told, be a housemaker, be a homemaker, have babies. As if that's an easy job. Do I agree that that is all women can do? Absolutely not. Women can literally do anything and everything plus have babies. And they're so intelligent, they just were not given opportunities the same way men were given opportunities. So obviously the discrepancy of how many women could be in medicine, how many women could be in science. Oh, well, it was a direct cause of how many women could be in school, which was not that many. Not that many. In this book, there are so many instances of Elizabeth Zott meeting women through her TV show. It's a live studio audience. She's meeting women who have been made to feel so incompetent. And it's like, hey, Guys, think in your real lives, how many women have you met that you genuinely thought were incompetent? Because I can't think of a single one. I've met women I didn't like, not incompetent. This book really highlighted you can get to where you want to be. You can like stand your ground and have a successful career and get the things you want. You don't have to belittle yourself. You don't have to stroke men's ego. You don't have to act like mediocre men are anything more than mediocre. And Elizabeth Zott's character, oh God, I just love her so much. I know everybody makes jokes about the 1950s and they're like, oh, I wouldn't have survived mid-century, na 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 na. That doesn't mean the women of that time period though were happy with where they were at. That doesn't mean that feminism didn't exist. It 100% did. Women would not be where we are today without the suffragettes, without the women of the 1950s, without the housewives. So if your Mima is coming to Thanksgiving and she is bringing an entire ham cased in Jell-O, so be it. Because the shit she probably went through was crazy. Will I eat her Jell-O ham? Absolutely not. I will support her in that though. There has not been a single decade that women were not fighting for rights of some kind. The pride I feel in being a woman after reading this, I sobbed for like an hour. There was not a single moment I was bored in this book. And honestly, when there's all these loose ends and the ending just like everything connects, that's like my favorite thing. Favorite thing. 5 stars, 6 stars, new Holy Grail book. This book is everything to me. My soapbox truly for feminism is only getting bigger. I'm standing on a taller soapbox, one soapbox after another. Never come down. Can't stop, won't stop. More soapboxes. Anyways, on to the next one. I'm very excited for it. The next book I'm reading is Yesteryear by Caro Burke. And this is all I'll say about it. A modern day trad wife influencer gets sent back to the time period of real trad wives to experience it firsthand. And I cannot wait to get into this. I'm feeling fired up about feminism. Feminism makes kids cool. Women decide what's cool. Yeah, Nugget agrees. I'm getting some parts of women. I'm getting some parts of women. Ow! She went back in time. She went back in time. Kids are there too. Not her children, different children. I am almost halfway through Yesteryear by Caro Burke, and oh my God, this is by far the craziest of the three. Like, it's reading like a psychological thriller. Is that what this is categorized as? I don't know. It's from the point of view of our FMC, Natalie Mills. And she is a super viral, super rich and famous influencer trad wife. Has the big old farm in Idaho, has 1 million children. Her husband is the son of a political person, I don't know, a senator of some kind. All extremely conservative, all extremely religious, except her trad wife, primitive farm, olden days lifestyle content is like a sham, fully. Like, she's got a team and she's got nannies. She's got like employees who help on the farm. They don't actually do a lot of the farm work. Her husband is a brain dead moron who doesn't want to have sex with her. It's bad. But then she wakes up in 1855, in the year of our Lord and Savior. Real trad wives. These people that you're trying to replicate, yeah, the shit they had to deal with. But while the chapters are taking place in 1855, we're also kind of getting some backstory chapters of her college years, how she met her husband, what those first few years on the farm with her husband were like. And they are also not looking pretty. Not looking pretty. To put it in perspective, right where I left off, they've only have one child at this point. Like I said, her husband doesn't want to have sex with her. But she has made a deal with her husband's father that has funded this farm that said you just have to have a lot of kids with him. But he doesn't want to have sex with her. So basically, she gives him a cereal bowl, tells him to do whatever he needs to do, and then she gets a, what are those called? The Thanksgiving, she gets a turkey baster. And, you know, put the pieces together. Yuck. I'm I'm just sitting here thinking, like, that doesn't work, right? Does it? I don't know. I guess I'll find out if she gets pregnant. The women on the internet who criticize her trad wife lifestyle, she calls them the angry women, but then calls her followers simple-minded. So I'm not exactly sure where she thinks she falls. It's like complete opposite of lessons in chemistry, like other end of the spectrum, truly. I'm having very conflicting feelings about Natalie because you start to see little cracks in her misery come through where you're like, oh, no, I see it. You're not happy. I see it. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, like I want this character development for her because I grew up in a Southern Baptist church. I've met many women who are like, I'm happy. Girl, are you? To where I'm like, oh, like I want her to learn and like be like, oh my God, this is awful. I've been brainwashed. But also at the same time, this character is so infuriating. And the way that she goes about, like she has these feelings that all these women have, and then she goes about it in the most evil way that I'm like, you get what's coming to you. I also saw somebody say that this book is just rage bait. We're reading this in our personal book club on Fable. You should join it. It's our book of the month for August. And it is. It's like, oh, what's going to happen? It's kind of like a thriller, but also like, oh my God, this woman is making me so mad. I truly don't know where the rest of this book is going to go because I thought she was going to get to 1855 and be like, oh, hell no, fuck this. But she's almost like acclimating. It's like smiling and tears. That's what she's giving. I'm actually about to go to the airport on my way to see Madi, and I think I'm gonna be able to finish this today. I'm with Madi in Mexico. I have approximately 57 pages left in Yesteryear, and I didn't read shit yesterday after I got off the plane. And I'm not gonna sit down and read right now either. I'm gonna go walk outside. So, in the cold, because it's cold in Mexico. I'll probably try to finish it tonight.
Is this in her head? Hallucinating, like literally going crazy? Psychosis, yes. I love him! Oh my God.
Not reading, just walking around.
Wet! We are wet!
I got home from Mexico. Harry Styles was incredible, even though it was pouring rain. Got home, got settled, finished Yesteryear. Holy shit. That book was actually insane. I thought that I knew where the plot twist was going. Like I thought I knew what was gonna happen. I could not have been more wrong. Without spoilers, basically what this book boils down to is a very smart, very educated woman who avoided every red flag, who pushed away all of her anger, her female rage, and basically any emotion that she deemed like bad or negative, and then proceeded to do everything right to become the most patriarchal version of a good Christian woman, and eventually drove herself into a psychotic break. My overall take on it is that this version of what a good Christian woman is, or the good wife is, was never actually built for women. And that's why it never really fits in there. And it drives these women crazy, is because it was actually just built to oppress them and control them. Because if it was natural, Women wouldn't have to try so hard to fit into this crazy ass standard. And women who buy into this narrative that all a woman is good for is cooking and cleaning and making babies and keeping her husband happy, yeah, that's why they drive themselves crazy. There's two types of women who end up in this position. They either eventually get the hell out of there, or, like Natalie Mills, go crazy. Natalie's mind is genuinely a hellscape, and I wouldn't survive one day in there. And I want to be clear here about my feelings on Yesteryear compared to my feelings on Lessons in Chemistry. And when it comes to being a housewife, being a trad wife, and where that line gets blurred on like, yeah, girl, do what you want, and hey, girl, that's fucked up and oppressive. And it's that being a wife and a mother and having pride in your home and wanting to be a mother and loving your children, that was never the problem. The problem is when that role gets stripped of your autonomy. Elizabeth Zott in Lessons in Chemistry fought to be a scientist, a mother, and live the life as authentically as possible so that she could be 100% herself with her job, with her passions, with loving her child, with loving her husband, with loving herself and her life. Natalie in Yesteryear wanted to completely erase herself, all of her education, all of her thoughts, and fit herself into this role that women were never intended to fit into, that men decided women should fit into. I actually think Caro Burke did an incredible job in taking all of the reasons that women today fight against this like image of like a modern trad wife and turning that into imagery in this book on how you can clearly see how hypocritical and fucked up that lifestyle actually is. How even the women who are doing it the best, psycho crazy. I will say Yesteryear was only a 4-star book for me. That's only because there was a couple things in the plot twist that I felt like it could have been explained more possibly. I will say that's a very small price to pay for how absolutely insane this book was. I cannot wait to see this on screen. It's going to be terrifying. Like, I'm gonna be shaking in my little boots. And rightly so. The shit that happens in the bell jar, terrifying, horrific. The shit that happens in Lessons in Chemistry, also infuriating. Events like that exist and have happened. And then obviously Yesteryear being so absolutely insane, and the reality of the lifestyle that that character was pushing onto other women. Yeah, so all of those things are women's nightmare. And unfortunately, a lot of those events are a lot of men's dream. And that, ladies, is why we need feminism. You know what I mean? If you don't think we need feminism, I'm gonna need you to get your little booty on over there and read these books. Pick up a book. At the end of the day, yeah, I do think women should read these books. Now, roll the credits. Let's unpack.
Okay. Whatever that means.
I'm just goofing. No big goof. That Elizabeth Zott is, I just put the fuck out of my tongue.
You just have my blue truck one?
It's mine.
Oh, that's yours?
Stingy. What if it was yours? And if you're someone who does think women belong in the kitchen, fuck out of here! The women of the 1950s were probably encasing everything in Jell-O because their husbands were putting them on diets all the time. Now that I'm recording, I can't remember what my thought was. Maybe if I sit here and look at the camera for 3 minutes straight, I'll remember. But this is the kind of book that makes me, like, I want to get a tattoo. I want to get this, like, plastered on my forehead. What am I saying? What the hell am I ever fucking talking about? Genuinely and truly. Oh, okay. I just love women and I hate men. And I think that really just sums it up.